When I was 14, I planned my wedding.
This one's wife. What kind of mother is she? Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. There will be those of you who do not believe that the children exist and therefore that this one's wife is not a mother. You are naturally entitled to form such a view. There are others who believe that she is a mother, that either she gave birth to the two children or perhaps that they arose from surrogacy, and that she is a mother to the children, to Archie and Lilibert. If you subscribe to the latter view, that the children do exist and that she is their mother, then, in the circumstances, a valid question is, what type of mother is she to those children? Because she is a narcissist. The behaviour of a parental narcissist varies considerably, dependent upon what sub-school they are. There's lots of different parenting types that take place, and there will be many of you listening who are children, adult children of narcissists, ACONs, who will be able to share, no doubt, in the comments your own experiences of how you were parented by one or more narcissist parents. In some instances, the upbringing is abusive. The child is subjected to physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse. Largely, the parent has very little to do with the child, but when they get in the way, which is how the narcissist parent sees them, they're subjected to heated, ignited fury, being beaten, being seen as an extension of self, so that they can be treated as the narcissist sees fit. In some instances, the relationship is one of volatility, whereby the parent does actually spend more time with the child, but it alternates from moments of playing with them, praising them, cuddling them, and then suddenly, in an instant, flipping and lashing out at them, so the child does not know whether they're coming or going. In other instances, the narcissist parent is largely absent, wrapped up with work, perhaps having an affair outside of the marriage, spending more time with friends, engaging in hobbies. They are hardly around the children, and when they are, they're cold and distant. The children are seen as a distraction, that are seen as somebody that gets under the feet of the narcissist. The narcissist will sit in the armchair reading the newspaper, or perhaps more likely these days scrolling on an iPad or looking on their phone, paying no attention to the child, waving them away when they go over for attention. In some instances, the narcissist parent can be overbearing and dictatorial, a tyrant, an ogre, barking instructions, expecting perfect behaviour, and woe betide anybody that deviates from it. In some instances, the narcissist parent expects to be parented by the child. They create them as the caregiver, swapping the roles, expecting the child to cook for them, to collect and administer medication, to attend to household chores, getting themselves ready at a young age, perhaps looking after siblings, while the parent is essentially checked out of parenting and expects to be parented themselves. In some instances, the narcissist parent doesn't recognise the boundaries and treats the child like a friend, confiding in them, sharing their concerns, often triangulating them with the intimate partner, complaining about the intimate partner to the child, placing them in an invidious position. In other instances, that narcissist parent can be too pushy. They're supposedly supportive, but they micromanage everything about the child's life, what they eat, who they play with, what they do at school, their extracurricular activities, how they spend their time at home. Everything is regimented, supposedly, for the purposes of the good of the child. You then also get the facade parent, one who to the outside world looks like a great parent, the fun, sporty dad, the caring, considerate, artistic mother that's ensuring that the child is well looked after. The child appears well dressed, healthy, clean, attending lots of different events, is known for being polite, is known for being involved in various extracurricular activities. And yet, behind closed doors, away from the facade, the child is miserable, left alone much of the time, or told what they must do in no uncertain terms. The facade of support and kindness melts away once that door is closed. Some narcissist parents have a golden child, a child that is worshipped, given a gilded existence, who, despite perhaps not being that talented, is repeatedly told that they are, told that they're going to achieve great things, not just born with a silver spoon, but given a whole drawer full of them. And then the opposite, the scapegoat. The child, no matter how hard they try, is always criticised, always tutted at, always receiving eye rolls, always put down, always blamed for the things that go wrong. With other narcissist parents, the child is subjected to high expectations, always pushed, you can do better, you can go further. Whatever the child tries to do, it's not enough. They're talented, but they can always do more. You may well recognise yourself among some of those descriptions that I've provided. But what about this one's wife? Where does she fit in terms of the type of mother she is to Archie and Lilibert? She is a mid-range narcissist. This means she operates a facade to the outside world. Mid-range narcissists generally operate facades of being kind, empathic, decent people. They invariably think that they're empaths when they are not. They portray themselves as caring to the outside world, perhaps being a pillar of the community, being involved in charity events, and, of course, being a great parent and somebody who sees the family as hugely important. This one's wife's subconscious mindset in relation to her children is that they are simply there to serve her purposes, like any other human being. They are little mirrors. They are there to be utilised by her for the purposes of being easy to control, draw fuel from them, in time, commandeer their character traits, and utilise them for residual benefits. The chief residual benefits that her children will be used for are facade management and merchandising. They're also there to be triangulated with other people, particularly Harry. For instance, she will criticise Harry to them for the purposes of prompting a reaction from him, both in terms of the criticism and the fact that she has said that to the child about him, which he would see as unfair and unnecessary. The children are there just to be used by her. They're objects, they're utensils, similar to any other human being. They're easy to control because they are so young. That is not an issue for her. The facade that she utilises in relation to them is that of being a wonderful parent that believes so much in family. Witness her comments last November when she spoke to the parents of recently bereaved parents who had lost their children as a consequence of online bullying, etc., where she talked about how wonderful it was to be a parent. She espouses from time to time that it's great being a mother, that she loves being a mother, that she adores her children. However, that facade is of limited applicability because of the fact that she is often away from them. In the course of the last year, there's been 2 trips to New York, trip to Portugal, Dusseldorf, Whistler, the Caribbean. She's regularly seen out and about without the children, going shopping, going lunching, going dining, and the children are nowhere to be seen. She's certainly away a lot from them, and that's because she has no emotional empathy for them. There is no actual connection between her and the children, and therefore they're only there to be utilised on the occasions where she deems it appropriate. Her style is to be absent with regard to these children. Her style of absence is not only actually being physically absent by being away a lot, but also undoubtedly within the Montecchio mansion with its 47,000 flushing toilets, she will go and sit in the office away from the children, expecting other people to entertain them, for Harry to deal with them, for a nanny to deal with them, for her mother to deal with them. She has important work of 1 hour a week to do. She'll be sat conducting Zoom meetings, talking in fridge magnet platitudes, flapping her gums, not wanting to deal with the children because she deems them to be largely irrelevant. She's too wrapped up in her own world, plotting the world conquering that she's going to engage in. Scrolling through social media to see what's being said about her, observing in mainstream media what the royals are doing. All of that takes time, you know, and it's time that she wants to afford to such activities at the expense of the children. You'll notice from time to time she does talk a little bit about the children, but it's actually pretty minimal, and the reason for that is she spends so little time with them. There are other celebrities who will talk in greater detail about their children, what they've been doing, but this one's wife doesn't. There's a little mention of something that Archie might have done or something that Lilibet has done, but beyond that, they're simple tidbits. As we saw in the documentary, there were staged scenes, filmed and photographed by her mother, purely created for the purposes of facade management. Ordinarily, the tasks that she was involved in, for instance, bathing Archie, she'll leave to other people. She just doesn't see the value in doing it. There is the possibility that she will treat one child as a golden child and the other as a scapegoat, but I actually think that's relatively remote. I think it's more likely that she's simply just not interested, because she's simply far more interested in herself. There will be instances where the children are given corrective devaluations, where she may well raise her voice at them, possibly may even smack them. In other instances, turn on a heel and walk away from them. She will look to commandeer their achievements in due course, but they're too young for that at the moment. For the most part, they will be subjected to cold fury from her as a consequence of a corrective devaluation, but most of the time she will have very little to do with them. She will ensure that she is elsewhere, pursuing her vision of global domination, and within the house, the children are there to be dealt with by other people, save for instances where she needs to create the image of being a good mother. No wonder Archie thought that the palm trees were his parents. The fact is that he and Lilibet, even though she doesn't have a proper job, even though she will be around the house a lot, the children will actually find that the amount of time that they spend with her is minimal. This is because she just utilizes them as devices to make her look good, and beyond that, she doesn't want anything to do with them. Indeed, her brand of narcissism is such that she has a fear of being outshone by them and being shown up by them. Hence, as I've explained in a separate video, why you don't see them. She doesn't want them stealing the limelight from her, and that's why she doesn't bother with them. She also probably doesn't have particularly good parenting skills, and therefore there is a risk that she'll be shown up. Remember when she was holding Archie on her knee when he was half-dressed with a full nappy diaper, when she was attempting to read to him and he simply wasn't interested? Her parenting skills got shown up that day. And it's highly likely that if there was a public appearance, they probably wouldn't do what she would want them to do. And of course, that is a threat to control for the narcissist. Accordingly, in terms of what kind of mother is she, she's one that presents a facade to the outside world that she's this warm, kind, caring, involved mother. But the reality is she's distant. Too self-absorbed, wrapped up in her own world. Content to go places without them and content to be in the same building as them, but focusing on her own tasks and leaving them to the care of others. How will this impact upon the children? Well, they are of course at risk of becoming narcissists themselves. The genetic predisposition could be passed on to them by her, and the fact that she is absent from them so much could create a lack of control environment. The fact is that intervening factors, by virtue of Harry's involvement, other caregivers, might ameliorate the risk they face. But simply, they will see her almost as a stranger, this woman who appears and occasionally talks to them, and will involve herself only with them if there's a camera or a film camera involved. What do you think? Do you think this is the type of parent that she is? A cold and distant one that's wrapped up in her own world, busy flying around and doing other things and having very little to do with the children rather? Or do you think there's a different style that she adopts as a narcissist with no emotional empathy? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.